In Arabic, potassium is given as al-gali, from which the word alkali is derived. Studying the word alkali, we find it means literally father. Remember, I've done this in other presentations. El, il, ul, ol, for instance, Olympic, all these ol, il, el, al, we get Allah, yeah? That's all God. And it turns up in Jewish, it's always El, like Israel, angel, chapel, cathedral, Bible, Babel, elder, the bell in the chapel, in the steeple, the aisle that leads to the altar, etc., etc. It's all El, right? God. And Kali, a Sanskrit word for fire. So, Father Fire. And you see, when you get the pH scale, 7 is always in the middle. You've got 1 and 14. This is alkali, and this is acidic. So this is why the number 7 is so important, and God loves the number 7, because alkali, Father Fire, electricity, energy, and alkalinity is all here. Acidity, it's a war. This is the war in heaven. It's the war everywhere. See, Saturn, the sun is the father of fire, and Saturn is the father of acid. A little bit of a divergence here, if you don't mind. Al-Biruni, 1,000 years ago, one of the most recognised astrologers and respected. Saturn is extremely cold and dry, the greater malefic, male, diurnal, disagreeable and astringent, offensively acid. Jupiter, sweet. The sun, pungent. You see, in Ayurvedic medicine, they give you the 7 tastes from the 7 planets. Of course, everything is 7, everything. And everything comes from the 7 planets. And of course, Satan is Saturn. And it's the war of Jesus and Satan, Horus and Set, good and evil, or God and devil. Same words. It's alkalinity and acidity. Acidity will send you to hell and keep you there. It's acidity and nothing else that keeps the oil from descending. Simple as that, because it consumes it, burns it up. And this is the science of how to keep your body alkalized, alkali, Father Fire. I think I'm getting through Aries. There shouldn't be much more. Magnesium phosphate is the moving or motor salt. Calcium fluoride, the builder of elasticity, and potassium phosphate, the electrical salt. That's why you need it, because your brain, your cerebrum, is electrical. The pineal gland is carbon and the cerebral cortex is copper, and that's the only thing that produces electricity in the universe. It's carbon crystal. The opinions of so many dietitians, naturopaths and others that the mineral tablets or cell salts used to supply blood deficiencies cannot enter the blood or be utilised are absolutely untrue, and would not be uttered if these salts were faithfully and conscientiously tested for 1 year. In the first place, those making such statements as for instance, the salts are inorganic and the body can use only what is organic, show their ignorance of the interpretation and derivation of words. For organic does not mean that a mineral is changed. but that several have been combined with fluidic materials. They cannot be changed even by fire. Another fact not recognised is that the chemist is able to pulverise and triturate them into as fine particles as are found in plants. In Hindu, the goddess Kali is the most powerful deity in nature, fire, which is at the same time the creator, the preserver and the destroyer. Let me again deviate, for this is quite important science. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, creator, preserver, destroyer, cardinal, fixed, mutable. Cardinal signs, fixed signs, mutable signs. Notice the forearms, because there will be 4 cardinal points for the creator, 4 cardinal points for the preserver, and 4 for the destroyer. And there they are. And I think I'm finished with Aries, yeah? In his book, The Biochemic System of Medicine, Dr. Carey says the grey matter of the brain is controlled entirely by the inorganic cell salt potassium phosphate. This salt unites with albumin and by the addition of oxygen creates nerve fluid or the grey matter of the brain. Of course, there is a trace of other salts and organic matter in nerve fluid, but potassium phosphate is the chief factor and has the power within itself to attract by its own law of affinity all things needed to manufacture the elixir of life. And we know that this essay or substance of being actually creates the child in utero. And that's it for Aries. Beautiful. The others will be much less, I can guarantee you that. Taurus was worshipped as a healing god. Healing comes from Helios. The word cerebellum differs from cerebrum in its ending only. The first part of the word cere means seed. Bellum in Latin meaning war or antagonism, contention. See, this brain is warring against that brain. And they show it to you. There's the God man, the God brain, the heavens reaching out to the cerebellum. That's the cerebrum reaching out to the cerebellum. Because as a man thinketh in his heart, that's the heart, by the way. When the Bible talks about thinking from the heart in the Greeks, it's the cerebellum. This is the seat of the personality. That's the seat of the individuality. This is the higher mind, this is the lower mind. This connects to the right brain and intuition, which is directly connected to source. This is detached from source, and this does the reason and the logic. The trivium stuff, you know. This is the quadrivium stuff. This is the war that's going on, and God is reaching out to save man. And it is urgent that we save ourselves from the lower mind, because that's where opinion is, and countless and endless diversions that distract us from getting back into the heavens, because you can only activate those dormant brain cells by returning to them. Thus, contention or antagonism, it should not be, but because it is the animal brain, the bull-headed god of the age of the golden calf, it represents that stage in the evolution of humanity which is torn by animal passions. This is why when Moses came down, you saw that Aaron had built a golden calf. The Jews were worshipping the ram, Rama, the high place. Moses was trying to teach them, we've got to get into the higher mind. What are you doing? You're making an idol of the lower mind, the Taurus brain. the cerebellum, which is against God. The bull-headed god, Microprosphorus of the Kabbalah, is not cooperating with Macroprosphorus. They're not cooperating, right? This is why God reaches out. In other words, the animal man, Adam, is ever contending against God. For passion cannot hear the voice of reason. Seed, sere, essence, is destroyed. The word torus, or torus, as in a torus field, also means any round swelling or protuberance, a projecting part or cushion. That's what torus means. A projecting part, a bulb. Bulb? Bull. That's the bulb of the roots of the tree of life that are in your body, the bronchial, the branches of the pneumogastric nerve. It is well-known anatomical fact that the cerebellum has such a protection and is seen in any chart. Indeed, it is coloured red on the charts so as to be outstanding. The subconscious mind functions through the lower brain or cerebellum. To be sure, this is contrary to what psychologists teach, but the following is proof of its functioning process. Naturally, the cerebrum, being the spiritual brain, is the organ of consciousness. It is Rama, the Most High. In the Greek, it is Athens, and the goddess Athena means wisdom. It is from this Greek word that we derive the term attic. An attic is the topmost room in the house. Delicate wit is termed attic wisdom. Therefore, the cerebrum is the first house, or first compartment in the physical dwelling. When this part of the brain is chemically perfected, and hence all knowledge is obtained, consciousness or spirit manifests as the Christ consciousness. The term sub means under, and is derived from the Latin. Therefore, the subconscious brain, in which the subconscious mind functions, is situated under the brain pertaining to consciousness, or the cerebrum. It is, we may say, the basement or cellar brain where the things stored become damp and full of moths. How beautifully true is the biblical injunction, lay up treasures in heaven, where moths do not corrupt and where thieves do not break nor steal. The state of mind, then, which each of us manifests in our imperfect state, becomes the divine bull by being yoked to the higher consciousness. You see, it becomes the divine bull when it's yoked to the higher consciousness. And this is what we're here to achieve, to yoke that, to receive God's hand and get into the higher mind by this process of ascension. Many contend that the solar plexus, remember I said there are 12 nerve endings here at the start of the presentation. This is very important, the solar plexus in this science.
So we're here with Alki and Jennifer David, of course, the owners of 90210 Go, and of course Have Faith and Film On, and many, many other companies. Good to have you here.
Thank you so much.
You look beautiful, Nishka.
Well, I'm a little bit chilly, Jen.
That's okay.
Jonathan, you know why he's called Colonel Sanders?
No, why?
Oh, because he is... because he's finger-licking good.
I think that's my favourite comedy magic act I've ever seen in my life. I don't want to seem rude, but I can't shake your hand because I'm allergic to guinea pigs, believe it or not.
That's okay, I'm allergic to the English.
Good.